Hey, you guys, this is your girl, Ebony Nicole, the Vice President of the Rochester Black Authors Association. And we are here with another episode of the Rochester Black Authors podcast, Black Authors Rock. And I'm going to tell y'all, before I get into it, your girl is pretty darn happy. Not only because I get to interview amazing authors from across this country, but the author here tonight, I got tonight, is the president of the Rochester Black Authors Association. So before we get into her interview, I just want to tell you to make sure, as always, follow us on Instagram, like us on Facebook, and tune in on Spotify. And I'll let you know how to do all of those things at the end. But now I want to get into it with the president, Madam President of the Rochester Black Authors Association. Jasey, go ahead and take it away, girl. Let them know who you are and where you're from. Well, I don't know if that even goes because you're from Rochester. And I just said your name, so I got all excited. But go ahead.
I know. Well, hello, welcome, everybody. And thank you for taking out some time. I know we talk all the time and we meet all the time, but not normally in this space, you know what I mean? So just to introduce myself to everybody, my name is Jasey Grimes. I am president of the Rochester Black Authors Association and co-founder of the Rochester Black Authors Expo. I am a now two-time published author, say it 2 times. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna throw up my 2 times. My second book, which is actually a memoir. So I thought my first book was my baby. My second book is my baby. Like that's my baby. The other one was my knee baby. My second book, I am ready for this year's expo to share, not just my work, but this time I'm ready to share me, only because I feel like you need to know that so you can understand why I write what I write.
Oh, come on here.
Giving you that little look into me so you understand like, oh, that's why she be talking like that in those books and why she writes like that. You got to know where I came from and you got to know who I am. So I felt that it was appropriate and I actually felt compelled. I did not plan on writing anything about me at all.
No one ever does.
You don't. You have enough stories as a writer, there are all kind of stories in your head. You know how they're going to start. You know how they're going to end. You might just have a scene and you build around it.
Yep.
You never know how a story is going to come to you. But when it hit me to write about myself, I was like, oh, how do I not do this? Because I didn't want to.
Yeah. But
I had to. So now that I'm finished and it's published, I'm ready and it is so exciting. So yes, I am ready for our expo. June 4th. I am ready to share this with people and I am ready for them to just understand a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, oh.
Absolutely. So let me ask you this. So a lot of people want to tell their story. Mm-hmm. How did you get to a place where you're like, you know what? I know you said you wrote it so people understand why you write your nonfiction or write your fiction stories. Yep. By sharing your memoir, which is a nonfiction. Yep. But what was your why behind it? Why tell your story now? I know you want people to understand, but why?
Yeah, so I actually lost one of my friends unexpectedly in 2017, actually. And she was such a big part of like the years of formation. You know what I mean? As a young woman, as a teen. Do I want to be this person? Do I want to be that person? Because I think teens really struggle with that. Are you going to be good or bad? Pick a side and stand on it. And she was a part of that. And she was a part of my life during that time. And when I lost her, I'm like, I really don't know where it came from. It was just like, you have to tell the story. And not that I tell the story with her by name, her likeness is mentioned, things like that. But it felt like a part of my past was going away with her. And I didn't want to let it just go away, because she had similar stories. We had similar upbringings. We shared many life experiences together. You know what I mean? So I wanted to just share that. And it all came with her passing, within those few months right after her passing. And it was completely unexpected. Yes. And the more I thought about it, I said, you know what? because I know, like with my original fiction novel, which is, street lit, urban fiction, it gets down and dirty and whatever. People know me, the professional. You know what I mean? I'm a leader in the nonprofit field. The degree and all this, these nice things, which is wonderful and I'm proud of. But
absolutely,
if you only know me now and you read that, you're like, oh my God, you
night and day.
You talk like that, It's like, not that I do on a regular basis, but I can,
Right.
And the people in my head and my stories, they can, they do, because I know these people. I know every single character in my book, whether I have interfaced with them 25 years ago, 30 years ago, 3 years ago, I know every person in my
As
book.
you should. And that's one of the beautiful things about being a fictional writer, because I can create, like you said, build a scene around one thing. I can have a conversation with you and have an entire story idea.
Yes.
That's how creative it is. And then as you get to write your story, you allow the characters to have their way. I've tried. I remember my first book, I was like, oh, I want Eve to do this. And then I want her husband to do that. And the characters are like,
nope,
we're not moving. But
right.
You let us do what we want to do. I'm like, okay, go ahead. So what do you want to do? And
look, and we
literally guide the story.
We call that writer's block.
Right. It's just like,
they're not talking to you. That is
don't. And it's so real. It's so real. But then when you like, you know what? I'm going to let the characters do what they do. And it freed so much. And everything, once I allowed my characters to do what they want to do, it just came out like water.
Right.
Like water. Yeah.
Right. And the process just becomes easier and you just let it ride,
Absolutely. Absolutely. So with your new book, this is your memoir.
Yes.
And what's the title of it?
The title is While Passing My Test to Fail.
While passing my test to fail. So we were just talking about, because I said, make sure you have a copy of your book nearby. Yes. So explain to us why you have this big copy before you even get into it.
This copy that'll cover my entire face, right? So one thing I like to do when you order, and for any author or, new author or even an experienced author, I think that everyone should order a large sample, a full size copy of your book, the same size as a trapper keeper. Okay.
Yep. So wait, for those that don't know what that is, like back in the 80s, 90s, it was where we kept all of our homework.
All in a trapper key. It had Velcro and it was colored.
Yeah.
But yeah, I recommend everybody to order large copies, because I think, one, you can see things better. Details kind of get lost or can get lost when you only order like the standard book size copy. So, and if you need to make your own edits, because sometimes editors miss things, people are human, if you need to make your own edits, I just feel like it's easier to see and it's easier to get a grip of, what's happening in the book when you just have it there and it's in front of your face. You can highlight, you can cross off.
Yep.
You can even change course, okay? Because I've ordered samples and said, you know what? I don't like that whole part no more. So I definitely think everyone should order a full size copy.
I'm not mad at that, because I usually order a proof in the standard size, but I like how you said to do the 8.5 by 11, because I think now I might have to do that for my clients, and as well as for myself, to get it on regular standard paper and then review it instead of the 6 by 9 or whatever size is going to be.
Right. It's easy to see. So this is my baby, and as I don't know if you guys can see it, but you'll see it on June 4th when you come to the expo.
Hello, somebody.
Or when you order it. But I wanted to really capture the time that this book was written in and the time that I was reflecting. And I have a mask in my hand.
Oh, get out. So listen, so you're now that's going to be very why she got a mask? Yeah. Oh, because this is 2030. No, 2030, y'all know about this.
You will remember. You
don't know about that mask life.
You don't know about the mask. But the folks, those of us that live through it, will look at it and say, "Oh, okay, she has a mask." So I just wanted to put that out. But I mean, this is my baby. The title, While Passing My Test to Fail, I didn't actually have a title until I was done. So when I started, in my mind, I'm like, you know what? I want to write something to help like young girls like in the hood figure out how they can get out. You know what I mean? Whether or other. I wanted that was my angle when I started, when I felt compelled to tell my story. It was to be geared towards younger women to say, this is what I did. Maybe it'll work for you. But once I finished, I said, you know what? And I didn't get my title until I was literally on my last page.
What?
Literally.
Wow. Titles do change though throughout, although you got yours about the last chapter, but sometimes as you write that title, don't be I'll just say that's aspiring authors and authors as well. Do not be married to the title
at all.
Do not let it change. If you don't have a title, still write your story. It does not matter. Just yes, I like that. I love that actually.
That's what happened. It was, I think I had an idea of what I might call it. It was nothing. Yeah. Nothing like this. Nothing like this. So while passing my test to fail while passing the test, I felt like growing up the way I grew up, society had a test. There is a test for Black and brown people.
Yes,
and
it is.
Whether you make it or not. So the test is set up for you to fail. So I passed the test to fail. And that's how I feel about my life. While passing my test to fail, these are things that I've learned along the way. So there are 10 situations in my life from my early years, from birth up until the formation of RBAA, 10 monumental like situations. Not necessarily like one day this happened to me, but just kind of during these years, and during these years, these are the things that happened. And there was a lesson in every single chapter. There's a lesson at the end of every chapter. I give you my takeaway from that. And then I challenge the reader to have their own takeaway based on my situation and based on my story, So one thing that I think for myself, unfortunately, and a lot of my friends and people I know and grew up with and love and family, one thing that we shared was the addict parent. I grew up in an addict parent household. Yeah. We lost our house. We, like legit foreclosed. And that's here. Like this, I'm starting out with that. I am starting the book telling you, like, this is how my life started. Yeah. But this is what
look happened. At you now.
And this is what came from it, So yeah, it is. I mean, it's a story of me. It really, really is.
Story of me. I like that.
It really is.
Why don't you share with us a snippet about in your story?
Yeah, absolutely. So, just to preface it a little bit, going back to speaking of a parent with an addict, this just captures some times, and this was about 30 years ago, what was going on in our life. So somehow our hiding spots just never seemed to be good enough. Time after time, my father would get desperate, and just like that, all of our money was gone. My siblings and I poured ourselves into school and did the best we could. We knew that we did not want to end up like my father. In 1991, one of my brothers was awarded an opportunity to attend the NASA space camp in Huntsville, Alabama. I won the regional Frederick Douglass oratorical contest and won a trip to Washington, D.C., visiting both the White House and the Capitol. And my other brother and I were both awarded Presidential Academic Fitness Awards for outstanding academic achievements. Although life was different, we made the best of it. My mother did all she could to keep us going. Yet, by the spring of 1992, my mother had reached her breaking point. My father had to go. With my brother's impending high school graduation, she was determined to not allow my father or anyone to keep him from going to college. By that summer, with no car in our family, my 18-year-old brother boarded a Greyhound bus to Long Island and began his freshman year at New York Institute of Technology. He was determined to never come back. And that determination rang true to this day. That was the last time we all shared a night under the same roof.
Wow. He never came back.
Listen, I love my brother to pieces.
Does he come back to visit? That's it?
For the event only, okay? His brother will fly in on Christmas morning and fly out on Christmas night. He don't play. He that was determination.
You need to pack a bag.
Listen, he's like, no, I just got a backpack. That's it. I'm not staying.
Wow.
Yeah, it was, I mean, that's what we lived in. You know what I mean? No car, no money. We lost our house. We moved around the corner, but around the corner was like the hood, different from where we came from. And yeah, and I mean, you know, I had my brother to look at as an amazing example. So yeah, when he left for college, he was like, I'm gone, you know, no plans of coming back. And I mean, he didn't. He went away and he also got a master's degree and just continued to live in New York City. And yeah, and that's his life, you know.
Wow.
And, you know, but meanwhile, I had that as inspiration to say, we're going up to his college. We're going to see this. You know, I wanted to live out all the things that I seen on TV, like School Days and all that.
Yes.
You know? But yeah, I mean, that was our reality. We, you know, I grew up with an addict parent, so things got hard, things got tough, you know. Drug dealers came to our door looking for my father, looking for the money that he owed, or, you know, the cars were gone. And none of it started that way, you know. And I don't know everybody else's story. I don't know anyone else's story, but you know, I had married parents who owned a home, who, like, I didn't know what a landlord was till I was like 10. I never had one. You know, I never
I've always known a landlord until I bought my own house, or until I moved out of in 2009 and then bought my own house in 2015. But before that, I always known a landlord. So that was,
it's a different world when you go from one to the other. You know what I mean? It's from only having a landlord to now being an owner, and you like, I could knock this wall down if I want to.
Yeah.
Nobody
can say nothing.
But you know, when it's the other way around and you're like, why are these men coming to our house to fix this? You know, it's different. It's a different world. But yeah, I mean, our zip code determines, technically, it's supposed to determine our success rate in life, right? Our zip code, what defines, you know, how much money you're going to make, how much education you're going to have, whether or not you're going to own your home. All of those things are determined by the zip code that you're born into. I was born in the 14621. I am straight up and down from Hudson. You know what I mean? Like
Hudson and Bernard.
Hudson and Roycroft.
Hello, somebody.
And
they say it's the poorest zip code in the city of Rochester, but
it is poorest zip code.
Poverty's a mindset.
Poverty is a mindset. Exactly. And that's why when I started to write this, I'm like, you know, physically, everybody doesn't want to, you know, live in the country, have a bunch of land. People like city living, or you know, you like what you like, and that's fine. But when you have to escape things, I think you have to escape it up here before you tell yourself that, you know, this is what everybody else is doing. So I guess, you know, I just need to do it too. You know, that's not always the way to go. Like,
no, not at all.
Figure it out, you know, find somebody that you can latch on to that did something similar to what you want to do.
Yep.
Or somebody that did something that, you know, you want to aspire to do, and just go for it, you know, go for it. You got to get out of the mindset that you can't or you won't. It's going to take too long. You know, the time
doesn't matter. The time doesn't matter. The time, it does not matter. If you put your mind to it and say, I can do this, guess what? You already did it. You already got to, because I always say, if you can see it up here, then you can see it.
You can absolutely see it.
Because up here is going to give you the ideas, the strategy, the know-how to actually see it.
And to start making it happen, you know, to start making it happen. I wish I could say I never thought I would be a writer, but I did. Like, I talk a lot. So, you know, I had teachers.
It was natural.
Like, here, you know, just write me a note, you know, just put it on paper because, you know, you're talking too much, which is fine, you know. And I knew that I had liberty when I started to write to do whatever I wanted to do. I knew that I can make anything happen. When I remember in third grade writing like sci-fi. I love horror films.
Oh, what?
I was writing little sci-fi, like
I'm a thriller and suspense girl.
Yeah, like it was like a suspense Babysitters Club meets, I don't know, whatever the suspense
yes
80s. But I remember writing those things and just it was so fun to me to just think to myself that you know, I could just make whatever happen in this story. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So I knew that I knew that I would write. I didn't know in what capacity. I just knew that I would write something, you know, and somehow
something will come out of all this creativity up here. And I want to say this for anyone who's aspiring, who's on the fence about should I not, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. I don't have the money to do it. You don't need money to write. You do not need money to write. And I believe that if you begin to write, you begin to share your story and tell people about the book that you're writing, then they might be inclined to help you. Like you never know what somebody might have in their heart. Like, look, I don't know how, but it's on my heart for me to give you $500. That didn't help you all. You might be like, oh my God, because my editor is $498.
Right. That's what I needed.
I needed that. You never know. So I would say to any aspiring author, just start. For real, just start. If you know that you have been destined for this, do not cut your destiny short out of fear, because you'll look back when you like 85 and be like, I wish I would have.
Woulda, shoulda, coulda.
For real.
You do not want to have regrets. I don't think anybody wants to live with regrets. Like,
none.
Just go for it. You know what I mean? There are things. I have a book of poetry, which it was on a floppy disk, girl, a floppy 3.5 floppy disk. I have a gospel.
Do you still have a floppy disk? Do you have even a computer to take the floppy disk?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
She has a floppy disk.
A floppy disk.
If you don't know what a floppy disk is, Google it.
A floppy disk.
Oh my God.
I said, I just knew I was going. So, and this is the true story. And I did not hear of Tyler Perry until like 2009 or 2000. I think his first movie was coming out or came out when somebody said, oh, he writes the gospel stage plays. I'm like, gospel stage plays. I didn't know, because I had been writing. I had a gospel stage play that I wrote in 2001. And it's so good, girl. It's on the floppy disk, but it was so good. I remember it. I could recreate it. But I just knew when I wrote that stage play, I was like, oh, I'm a hit with this. This story is good. I'm a hit. And I ended up not actually putting the play on. But it's something that is still in my heart. You know what I mean? The story.
Do it.
I think the story is timeless, and I'm just like, you know what? Give me the right time. You know what I mean? I believe in listening to God, so I'm gonna listen for when He wants to put me in a place and the space to do it, because I think it needs to be done in such a way that it's gonna reach people that it can actually touch. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So I want to I got to get that one out too. I have to get that one out. But I knew my plan would take me there.
We got so many. Listen, as an author, one thing I did notice, and I'm going to say this, and then we're going to shift gears. But one thing I did notice is, as I began to write my first book, other ideas that started pinging out of nowhere.
Yep.
So I would say to any aspiring author, when you first let that pen go, it's like a floodgate. It's just going to start. As soon as you open it up, it's just going to come rushing in, and you're going to be getting all these story ideas before you even finish the first one.
Oh yeah.
That's a creative. Do not kill that. Let it go. Just get it out. Get it out. So
time frames.
Sorry, go ahead.
Either. No, I just said don't put time frames on yourself. You know what I mean? I would, especially while you are in a space that you can be creative and let your process be whatever your process is. It's not like you're working with this large company who says, you know, your contract said we need a book by, June 30th, because I'm sure
that's too much pressure.
That's way too much pressure. And I'm sure there's writers who are under that kind of pressure. Listen here, I won't be one of them, because I need to let this do what it does and give me what it's going to give me when it's going to give it to me.
That's too much pressure. So, I'll be like, the deadline tomorrow, and I only got 2 pages.
Right. Breach your contract, okay? Because I don't know what else to tell you.
Y'all want this advance back, or?
Right. So yes.
We're going to switch gears for a moment, because we're almost done here. But you aren't only an author, a mom, a grandma, a baby packer bag.
My devil man.
So, as the Black Authors President, how did the organization come about?
So I might be a little bit biased, but I think it is probably the dopest story ever. So for anybody that, doesn't know, or anybody that's not from Rochester, New York, there is a local comedian who is just a phenomenal woman all around, Yolanda Smiles. And Yolanda put on the Rock Awards. And that was her way of saying, you know what? I'm going to highlight the talent that's in this city, because for as much press as we get for other things, sometimes I think people sometimes miss out and lose sight of the fact that there are so many dope, talented people here. And I mean, every arena, from photography to writing to comedians, and just there's so many, and musicians, and there's so much talent here. So Yolanda put on the Rock Awards to highlight the talent, and to, just like your Grammys and your Billboard Awards and everything. Red carpet, all out, amazing show. And it's all homegrown talent. And we were nominated the first year that they entered an authors category. And I don't know about you, Ed, but I know personally, when I wrote my first book, I felt like I was the only one. I was like, oh,
I didn't know any other authors in Rochester.
I didn't know any other. And it was like, oh, no, I know I'm it. And she put the category together, and for us to all be in the category with, my big bro, your big bro, our big bro, Corey Lamar Tanksley. For Corey won that year.
Yes, he did.
2015.
2015. Yep.
He won, and he came to us and said, I think we should do something together instead of competing. Why don't we come together, since because I think we were all of the belief that I'm the only author in this town.
Truly was. So when my name I'm like,
listen,
there's others in this list. I didn't know there were other authors, but okay.
Right. For him to come to us and say, let's come together. We got the Harlem Book Fair downstate. Why don't we do our own expo and put our talent together, and instead of competing with one another, let's all get this money, number one. But let's all shine together. Let's all highlight each other, highlight the work that we all do. Let the world know that there's more than, the 4 authors in this category in Rochester. And how many people did we have just in year 1 who were also authors? 12
of us.
Yes.
Didn't know.
We had no idea. And
not one.
The most amazing thing to me, I think, is the fact that we, as Black and brown people, can look at one another and say, let's collaborate and not compete, know? And I mean, don't get me wrong, like, you got to have a winner in the second wars, you know what I mean? Which is absolutely well deserved. But to then take that and let it come from one amazing event to grow into another amazing event, which was just the expo for the first couple years. And then, we thought about, because of course we all have stories in our head all the time. We all are filled with ideas. Our thoughts were, what else can we do?
What's next?
How can we expand this, And that's where we decided to do the paperwork and put it together and apply to become a 501c3. So we are officially the Rochester Black Authors Association, 501c3 nonprofit organization. So, and that happened in 2019. It happened right after COVID. And it's just, I think our story is just so amazing. Just the idea of collaboration over competition will always win me over.
It was like that grassroots. We are a grassroots organization. And I'll be honest with you, there's nothing easy about building a grassroots organization. Nothing at all. It's finding people who believe in a vision, who believe in a purpose, and saying, we in it, let's go.
Right.
And although I'm gonna tell you this, although Janelle and I are president and vice president, or Janelle and then I are president and vice president respectively, it's 4 of us collectively that we say, okay, we throw ideas in a hat and it's like, which one we gonna rock with? Let's go with this, let's vote this one, let's vote that one. Right. And so it's all of us coming together, making decisions that's best for the organization. And that's what I loved about these ladies. Under the leadership of our late founder, Corey Lamar, we started out like our foundation is solid. And now we're just building. We're building and building. And the sky is not the limit. I never believe the sky is a limit.
Right.
because the universe is available. So
Yep.
because the universe is available, the sky is just a stepping stone to the vast universe. And so
Yep.
I believe our organization is going to go into the universe. It's going to expand. I can already see. I remember we were talking with Nate, and Nate was like, have you ever thought about doing other chapters in other states and cities?
Yeah.
Like,
wow, mind blowing, right? Like
what? So I let's get, once we get this Rochester Black Authors Association, the Buffalo Black Authors Association, Syracuse, New York City, and then do like countrywide not festivals, but countrywide symposiums and things and expos here, and that'll bring money to the organization and bring money to the city of Rochester when people come and flood it. But
recognition.
Yes.
And I see it happening. I mean, people are paying attention to us. We know that we have authors who reach out to us from other states, from the West Coast, from down South. Like, it is just mind blowing to me, the support we get. And it's mind blowing just with our reach. I mean, your social media touch is so I know, without you, there is none of this.
Yeah,
so
I'll be on it. I'll be like, look, you gotta share. But sometimes I'll be slipping. I'll be like, yo, I didn't post, and like, let me post.
That's all right. That's all right.
But as we grow, we will get someone to handle our social media. But for now, it's just the four of us. It's just the four of us handling it. Like, we check, we all get the emails. Janelle be like, did you get this email? Oh, I responded, honey. We're good.
Right. No, we are working. Like, it's really us. We are working, and we are, it's us for real.
This is just us. And we know, like, I was a few days ago, I was just sitting there, I was looking at all the authors that are coming together, and I was putting some of the flyers together. And I was like, Corey, you would be proud.
So proud. And for anybody that does not know, we actually lost we call him our mastermind.
Yeah.
And that is Corey Lamar Tanksley. We lost him last year to illness. And, this is a part of his legacy. Many people, know him for being, the ultimate mastermind and the true creator of the Rochester Black Authors Expo. So we just, like you said, I think he's so proud,
He definitely is. And this year we have two new awards that are going to be something we do yearly. The first one is the Corey Lamar Tanksley Authorpreneur on awardees, or what is it? Yeah, Authorpreneur Awards. And these are for people not just in our community, but across the nation. We are connected to hundreds of authors, and so we see them, and so we spotlight, for to say, hey, we see you, we see that you are doing things beyond just being an author, because Corey was more than an author. Corey had an idea for every time you turn around. I'm in this business, I'm looking into this, I'm looking into that, I'm going to be doing this.
Ultimate hustler.
Seriously, 7 people, like, you need 7 streams of income. Corey had like 10 to 12.
Okay.
So we got this year we have 2 authors from Rochester, one from North Carolina, and then one from Texas. And so we're going to be honoring them at the expo. And then we also have the Authorpreneur of the Year, the first one ever, Corey Lamar Tanksley Authorpreneur of the Year Award. And so we are going to give that out as well. Because we want to show people, like, look, this man truly made an impact on our lives.
Absolutely.
And the lives of those who knew him. Like, when he passed, it was just a surreal moment for the entire city. Okay. Yep. And so to keep his memory alive and to honor him the best way we can, knowing who he is and what he did, these are 2 ways that we're going to honor him. So we just want those authors out there, like, just know, follow us on Instagram. We will follow you back, and we want to see what you're doing, like, or connected with us on Facebook. We want to see what you're doing, see what you are doing beyond just writing your book. And you never know, next year we got the one Authorpreneur of the Year, and then the 4 honorable mentions. So you could be one of those. So do not give up, keep going. Absolutely. So Miss Jasey, I was looking at something else. Miss Jasey, what is it that you would say to someone, an aspiring author, who was like, I want to write my book, but? What's their but that you can help them get over?
Normally the question I get is I want to write my book, but I don't know how to start it.
Mm-hmm.
Start where your mind is.
I hear it.
Same way we just said that you can start with a scene and then you build around it. Just write that chapter, whatever it is in your mind, write that chapter, connect with somebody who can give you some feedback. They might not even be a professional. That's fine. They'll just tell you, oh, well, this is what it sounds like happened before that, or this makes me think this is what's going to happen after that. Just start writing. Let the pen go. Let it go.
That's it. No? Let the pen go.
Let the pen go.
I don't know. You need to put that on a shirt.
Listen, let the pen go.
Let the pen go. Like, for real, because that's dope. Because it's like you just really just write. There's no secret formula. There really isn't. None. If someone tell you they got the secret formula to how you should start, there's truly no secret formula. Like, I tell people, like, when it comes to their memoir, how should I start? Well, what's your why behind it? And write a chapter about your why. But you just gotta really start. When it comes to like fiction stories, it's like, okay, think what's the scene that come to your mind when you first think about this character? Write that out. Like,
and that might
no formula.
Chapter 15 of a 35 chapter book.
Once
just start. So, I mean, that's always my best advice, because I do get people that reach out and they're like, I want to write my story, or I only have this. Just keep going. You know what I mean? It may need to make sense before or after, and the sequence of chronological events or whatever may have to change, but just start it, put it on paper and just consult with somebody, get some feedback. I don't care if you get it from your mom, brother, sister, auntie, cousin,
beta readers,
anybody. Right.
Yep. Anybody. It's so funny because I knew for my first book, I knew the first 2 chapters I had written, and I knew the ending. Yeah. That was all I had, literally. And there's over 40 chapters in this book, okay? And that was all I knew. And I had to connect these 2 chapters to this chapter. And it was fun. Yes. Because it was just like, I don't know how this goes. Well, what about and this? And this it was like putting together a puzzle. Right. It's like a 1,000-piece puzzle. And you don't even have the you know how they give you the outside of the puzzle so you know what it looks like. All I had was I had 3 of the 4 corners built. That 4th corner wasn't even in place. So I still had to put pieces together. I'm like, no, that don't work. No. No, that can't work. That can't work. And it just came together. Next thing you know, I had this beautiful book. So like,
it's because you didn't stop. You didn't stop.
Right. No, I kept going. So like she said, put the pen to work. Was that it?
Let the pen go.
Let the pen go.
Pen go.
Let the pen go. Let it go. Let it go. Let it go. Hey. So you guys, I'm excited about what Jasey is doing. I'm also excited about what we are doing in our organization. And more than anything, I'm excited to have you all here to know what it's like to be an author and to know what it's like to be beyond that. Mm-hmm. There's so much you can do. All you have to do is believe, truly, truly believe in yourself. Mm-hmm. Because if you don't, then who will? Right. All right, you guys. So that is all we have for this episode. So I want to thank you all again. I am Ebony Nicole, the Vice President of the Rochester Black Authors Association. And we just had out here the president.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
Y'all know I'm extra.
And we're not in a business meeting. We just get to talk.
Right. So she's going to interview me. I'll probably like next week or the week after. But, I'm so excited about what's to come. Yeah. And so if you want to stay up to date with us, make sure you visit our website, rockbaa.org. Also, our Facebook, which is rock_BAA2015. Facebook, rock_BAA. Make sure you connect with us there as well. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, shoot us an email on our website and we will sure to get back with you. There are so many things that we have coming up this year as well as next year. So please, please, please stay tuned and connected with us and we will be the same and do the same for you. So until next time, you guys, I'm Ebony Nicole. This is Miss Jasey Grimes and we will see you next time.